Good evening, everyone. I'm Bryan Hogue. Welcome to Chiller Chat. Are there such things as ghosts and spirits out there? What happens to us after we pass on and go into the afterlife? Does that even exist? Who knows? Is there any evidence whatsoever? Well, you never know. We're going to talk to somebody tonight who is doing his best to collect evidence as he investigates the paranormal. My guest tonight is Chad Cornell. He's the host of the Eerie Voice at LiveParanormal. And he's the founder and lead investigator at E.V.P.S, Eerie Voices Paranormal Society. Chad, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you. Chad, tell us, what is the E.V.P.S?
Well, E.V.P.S is just short for Eerie Voices Paranormal Society. Just made it into a fun acronym because EVP is an electronic voice phenomenon, basically a voice captured on a digital recorder, so it's a fun little acronym, play on words. We found it back in late 2009, early 2010. And we've been out investigating the paranormal for roughly coming up on 9 years. I've been doing it for a little longer. Basically have a team of 9 right now. And we go out and try and find, basically, if there is something after we pass away. And we go to, whether it be a private residence, a business, or just a location that you've heard has activity, and try to determine if there is some sort of activity at the location, and collect evidence and findings, and see if we can debunk and find logical reasons for things. And sometimes we're left with things that we cannot debunk and have logical reasons for, hence paranormal, which is, paranormal means just above the, we call it the phase of normal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what in the world got you started in this, Chad? How did you develop your interest in the paranormal and then in investigating it?
Well, I always had an interest in wondering what happened after we died. Mm-hmm. And I've always had that interest in the paranormal, but never really thought anything of it. And obviously, people watch the shows and whatnot. And it didn't happen until I had a dream one evening, and I thought it was so vivid and clear. And after speaking to a family member of mine and explaining this dream to them, they basically concluded that it was more of a memory because everything I described actually happened, but they did not tell me this. And that drove me to have more interest in it, and then reach out to a different local team to try and get out in the field to try and, learn the aspects of investigation. And then from that point on, after learning some stuff, I decided I have a more open view. Some teams, might be a fault of their own, might not be, it's whatever they just, decide. But we at E.V.P.S try to have an open mind for many techniques and different aspects of research in the investigation field. And I wanted to be able to have the opportunity instead of being more of a, we'll call it, or a more focused as that team was. I wanted to be more open to different ideas and theories and whatnot. So that's why I went off and created my own team with people I trusted and knew, ranging from regular office people that I have friends with, to a police officer, to a general laborer, to a postal worker, just different aspects of backgrounds that make it very helpful when you're investigating, because all these different backgrounds of employment actually help in the investigation process. And then pretty much from that point on, we decided to progress through and investigate and try and hone our skills, and we've been lucky along the way to meet some fantastic people and learn some ideas from them, and they learn some from us, and we've evolved and progressed, I think, very well in the field, and we've been lucky enough to gain respect and notoriety, which is fantastic, but it's not what we're about. We're about helping people and determining the truth. And then we obviously have the opportunity to do the radio show, like you said, the Eerie Voice, and that has opened up so many amazing doors for us to talk and meet with even more interesting people and more world-renowned people, that it's made our life even more mind-blowing with the theories and investigation ideas. And it's been amazing from the very get-go.
Now, before we get into some of your more notable guests that you've had on your show, how long ago did you say, or did you say, how long ago was this dream that you had that caused you to, develop your interest in the paranormal to the
I would
extent
say
that
that dream occurred about 15 years ago, roughly. Maybe a little less, 14 to 15 years ago.
Okay. Huh. And the other person verified that this actually did occur.
Yes, I was describing my dream because it was so vivid and it was in my head all day, and they basically verified that it was sounds like we're remembering because everything I spoke of actually happened, and it's not like I have psychic abilities. It's just the dream was so vivid that it was a memory that I think finally came to the surface, and then it just drove me from there to have interest in it because all the descriptions I had in the dream matched up with what they were saying. And I'm far from psychic. I would never consider myself psychic because I don't have that ability. It's something I think it just blew up in my world. It blew my world up and gave me the opportunity to do what I love to do.
That is interesting. I think we've all at some point, like you say, you're not psychic, but I think that we all at some point have had an experience like that, whether that be deja vu or something similar, something along the lines of, I don't know, something happening that you think shouldn't happen. It doesn't fit in the bracket of being normal,
Exactly.
Well, you've had a lot of guests on your show, the Eerie Voice. Now, what are some of the more notable guests you've had?
Oh, we've been blessed to have on different paranormal. Some people call them paranormal celebrities. We don't look at them like that. We look at them as people, but they're more known for their work. We've been lucky enough to have on, for example, Grant Wilson, known for his time on Ghost Hunters. Mm-hmm. We've had on Scott Porter. He's part of Tennessee Rake Chasers. Different shows he's been on are like Ghost Towns, Haunted Asylum. What else he has coming up? He has a new show coming out. It's going to be like a live ghost hunting show. It's coming out, I believe, in September or early October. I can't remember exactly. Mm-hmm. We've had Dustin Perry from Ghost Hunters. We've had Barry Fitzgerald from Ghost Hunters International, which he lives overseas in Ireland. We've had him on. He's fantastic. We've had and become very close friends with Andrea Perrin. Andrea's story was portrayed in the movie The Conjuring, the very first one, but she wrote a series of books called House Darkness, House of Light, which is basically her recollections with her family of the times in the farmhouse, and those basically helped write the script for The Conjuring. And a lot of the basis from the movies from her book, House Darkness, House of Light, and also some of Ed and Lorraine Warren's case files. We've also had on, oh Lord, we've had so many different people. Gosh almighty.
Well, every time I check in on Facebook and see your posts, it seems like you've got, quite a guest, every week.
It's every other Thursday.
Oh, okay. Every other Thursday. Okay.
Yeah, so we alternate. It makes life a little easier with with life and other team related stuff and jobs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's understandable. I know what that's like. Yep, I feel your pain. But now you just did a show. You just had a show last night, right?
I did. We had on Michelle Belanger.
Mm-hmm.
She is a psychic as well, but she's known for her time on Paranormal State. She's written many books. She actually was first brought into Paranormal State because of her research in the occult, and she was going to be like an occult specialist. And then they found out she has psychic abilities, which she really didn't portray it to everyone, but it was tested out by another psychic medium who was on the show, Chip Coffey, and then she became also a psychic on the show as well. But she's wrote up towards about 30 books at her time, ranging from many different topics. She has one book, it's pretty well known, it's Dictionary Demons. It lists all the different types of demons out there, names of the demons, which that's an iffy topic because you give sometimes, I think, power to demons by calling out their name. But everyone has different theories on that as well. Mm-hmm. She's a very interesting lady.
Now you do this live on Facebook. We do it
live on air, and we also stream it live through Facebook as well, just in case somebody can't get to the radio station. We want to make sure it's available for social media as well.
Mm-hmm. Now you also do. Is this? I think this is something. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this fairly new that you've been kind of toying around with live streaming your investigations?
Yeah, we have certain ones we'll do. We will never do a private location of a residence and business and whatnot, but we'll do more well-known locations. We'll try and do at least a partial stream throughout our normal live investigations. We've been doing that for a little over a year, maybe a year and a half or so. And the first one we really did, a long version, was when we went to the Hinsdale House in Hinsdale, New York. But it's something we are now trying to do as much as possible when we investigate, because it becomes also a great investigation tool. Because people who are watching and listening, they might pick up on something that we don't pick up on during that moment. Mm-hmm. And it's been lucky enough we've actually documented that in some of our clippings that were live, where we actually caught audible voices, even on the live stream that we heard with our own ears, but didn't pick up on a recorder. So it's really, really interesting.
Now, you sent me a video, and I'd like to play that to the viewers here. Could you set the video up and let us know what we're about to see here?
Sure. We were actually in Madison, Ohio, at the Madison Seminary just back in this past, I want to say it was March, or this few months ago. And we were special guests to give flashlight tours the public that night. And once that finished up, we had full run of the whole location to investigate. And we've been lucky to become friends with the owner. His name is Adam Kimmel. He also has a very well-known show, but he strictly does his show on YouTube called Resident Undead. And we had one of our good friends from the team with us during this clip. And we were investigating the upper part of the building in an old, what they consider as well, an old asylum that held some of the mentally insane and unstable. And this clip is actually a clip from the live stream that they did during that moment. And we were getting interaction. We were hearing voices with our own ears. It was picked up audibly on camera. And we were seeing shadows with our own eyes. And we had a Mel meter, which is a device that can gauge the temperature, the EMF within the location, the fluctuations. It also has a REM basically, and built within it, has a little antenna that portrays its own energy field out. So if anything breaks the energy field, it'll make it light up or make an audible sound. This particular device also has a shadow detector built into it as well. And we had it turned off during this actual stream, but something else had another idea and wanted to keep turning it on and messing with our millimeter throughout the clip.
Okay. All right, now you viewers at home, we're going to go ahead and watch the video that Chad has provided tonight. So let's take a look at this, and then we'll talk a little bit about that when we get back.
Turn on, and then it got turned on. So we're pretty sure you messed with our device. So if you can do that, can you move something? I know it's like a repetitive question we keep asking you. Did somebody just say hey?
No.
I heard that.
You heard that hey?
I heard it. It was like a,
Yeah. That was none of you guys?
No.
Did you, yeah, play it back.
Pretty sure you messed with our device. So if you can do
There's something
that,
there too.
can you move something? I know it's like a repetitive question we keep asking you. Did somebody just say hey?
yeah.
You caught
Yeah, I heard it.
that was like, it was in between you two too.
It's like a
Yeah.
repetitive question we keep asking you. Did somebody just say hey?
Really breathy. And that was right here in this area.
See, and I was shining the light in here as you were asking that question.
Yeah. See that? Great start. There's a hey there before we even heard it. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
You can do that. Can you move something? I know it's like a repetitive question we keep asking you.
So it turned on again.
Did somebody just say hey?
Oh.
I heard that. You heard that hey?
All right, that device has been turned off.
That was none of you guys? No.
The shadow detector on the device is turned off. Something's trying to turn it on, and it just legitimately turned it on right now.
What's crazy is it not going on.
No, it's not going on. But that button was turned off.
Turn it off.
Can you turn it off? Did you hear that voice?
No, I missed it. I didn't record it either. Hear something?
Chad, did you just whisper?
Yeah, that's I
Yeah,
heard.
that's why I
Yeah, I heard
whispering.
go or something.
I heard like, yeah, I
or
heard like,
oh. Oh, maybe in my belly.
Sounded like a groan. Were you the one who spoke to us and said, hey? We heard your voice. We captured it.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you step away now? Let's do another question.
No, that talk part's going on.
All right, step away, please.
Okay, and we're back. Hey, that is, I always thought too, I was thinking about this, you have the, I was with you guys once when you were on an investigation, and you did the thing with the, the flashlight, like you were asking the spirit, if they could turn on and off the flashlight, and to which it did. I got to thinking about this, and I thought it was interesting that this was brought up in this video. If a spirit can manipulate matter or something physical, why couldn't they lift something up or move something, And then that question was asked here in the video. And I thought that was interesting, although it went off to a different direction with the forming of the words. I thought, now is that something that you have asked since that video? Have you ever had an experience like that to where they've moved anything?
Absolutely. Sometimes just consider those as poltergeist type of haunts. But intelligent and poltergeist can cross over, and some entities can accumulate enough energy from the surrounding area or from the devices or even the people to be able to move something to communicate. I've had different occasions these things have happened. Actually, on a previous investigation in that exact same location where we're standing, there were 5 of us standing around just having a conversation, and my fellow investigator, also my other lead investigators, Doug Malinowski, was also a co-host on the Eerie Voice. He wasn't trying to be rude and get it to do something by being mean to it. He was trying to initiate something to happen because he was saying he wasn't impressed with what was going on. Do something to impress me. And as we're standing around in a circle, just talking amongst each other, I had 2 handfuls, one hand with camera, another hand with an EMF detector that would basically detect any spikes and fluctuations. And it was cold, it was wintertime, just to set it up a little bit. So I'm wearing a heavy jacket, and I had a flashlight in my back pocket. We're talking a little tiny flashlight, probably about 2 inches long, but I had stuff in my back pocket, and I had some, pretty deep back pockets that I was wearing, and my jacket was over my pocket. Well, as we're talking and discussing different events from the night, and Doug was saying he wasn't impressed to do something, we heard a loud bang about 20 feet down the hallway. And as we turned to see what it was, we found out that it was the little flashlight that was in my back pocket 20 feet down the hallway.
Oh.
And what makes it even interesting is even back to our second investigation there, and we had another investigator on my team, Travis, who was sitting there, and we're actually videotaping this on a DVR camera, a stationary camera that can see night vision. You can see him standing there with a digital recorder doing an E.V.P. session, and all of a sudden you see his recorder shoot out of his hand and go about 15 feet down the hallway toward other members who were sitting on the corner. So it's pretty interesting that 2 things similar happened in the exact same spot of even this clip you just saw.
Was he filming at the time and did that?
What was that again? I'm sorry.
Was he filming at the time that the camera got tore from his hands and sent down the hall?
Well, we had a stationary camera set up on the hallway filming him as he's holding the digital recorder, so you could actually see the digital recorder fly out of his hand and shoot down the hallway.
Jeez.
And we've had doors slam on us, and I walked into a hallway and had doors slam behind me. We've seen different items get moved on the floor, such as a ball and so forth. You have to be very cautious with balls to make sure there are no wind drafts. They're very level floor. You have to take all those things into consideration when you investigate, not just instantly go to conclusions saying something moved this ball. Well, you got to make sure the windows are nice and tight. There's no draft. Nothing's coming along that's actually able to move that ball. And we've had different things like that happen with balls moved. We've had windows open that were actually inside. It was actually best way to explain it was a window that was used to pass information from one office to another office. So it was actually not a window on the outside. It was a window built between 2 offices. We actually had a window open up. Many different things. Those are just for example.
What was the one defining event that made you believe, if you do, I'm assuming that you do, or maybe you're getting to that point, do you believe without doubt that there are ghosts, that there are spirits?
I believe there is something
Okay.
beyond our realm.
Okay.
To be honest with you, you can categorize it in different things. I've seen shadow people. I've seen recently my first apparition, full apparition, and that's what made me believe there is spirits, or you can call them ghosts, if you prefer. But whether they're the person who passed away, there are different theories there. Because somebody could pass away, and whenever you're alive, you're full of energy. It's shooting throughout your whole body.
Mm-hmm.
If you die in a quick manner, where does all the energy go? So some theories are the things that you see are actually just the remnants of that person's energy, and they have no idea that you're even around. And it just does a certain thing over and over again, like a tape player, and that is a residual type haunting. You see those a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Intelligent ones, those ones I believe are more of somebody who passed on and is actually a ghost. You would call it a ghost.
They are aware of you, or at least they have some type of, I guess for lack of a better word, like a conscience, or they have an awareness.
Exactly.
Huh. But you now, when you saw these shadow people, you know that you're seeing these things. This is not a trick of the eye or a play. You're convinced that you have seen something other than what is existing in our realm.
Absolutely, and like I said, it was honestly I didn't discuss this with anybody after it happened, but it was the same night that you saw that clip earlier. We were doing as a flashlight tours early in the evening at Madison Seminary, and we had the last group out, and there was only about 6 of us with us, 6 people in the public, myself, and we'll call it another. Call them MAG crew, Madison Seminary crew members who help out. She's also a security guard and worked with the different prisons and whatnot. She's a prison guard, we'll call her. So she was keeping tabs, and I happened to look down this hallway. We were down in the basement, but the basement sits just down below the main hallway, leading from one building to the other building. So you can actually see the hallway down the hallway. And I seen this person walk up, turn the corner, and look right at me, and then turn back to go the other way. So the first thought in my mind was somebody got separated on a group tour.
Yeah.
I walked down there, and there was no one around. And as I passed the one door, it's actually a doorway that basically is where the MAG crew hangs out, where people check in and leave from the building. And one of the members was walking out to use the restroom, and I asked her, "Hey, is there anybody else in the building?" And she concurred there was no one else. We had the last group. Everyone was accounted for. And so I scratched it up to, I don't know what's going on, but I made note of what I saw. And I explained I saw something down there. So when she was down there, she could hear footsteps walking around. She could hear humming. And we couldn't find a source for it because there was no one around. But I kept the details of what I saw to myself until a recent interview with one of the people who actually were in the video you saw. His name is Brendan Shea. He is part of the Resident Dead team, and we were talking a little about Madison Seminary during the interview with him, and he talked about an apparition he saw, a man, and I just made Doug aware of what I saw during the interview. I wrote down a piece of paper to show Doug, and Brendan described what he saw, and it matched up word for word what I wrote down, what I saw.
Well, Chad, I want to talk a little bit more about that, but this is we're wrapping up the end of the TV version of the show. So I'm gonna conclude this real quick, and then we'll finish talking about your experiences. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, Chad, your group, how do they do that?
Well, the different versions. They can go to EVP-society.com. They want to go right to the website. There's you can do a conversation through there. Or they can go to our social media pages. They can go to Facebook and find us at Eerie Voices on Facebook. They can find us also on Twitter, Instagram at Eerie Voices. Social media, and also, like I said, the website, evp-society.com as well.
Okay, great, fantastic. And also, to the viewers, if you want to see this episode in its entirety, because we're going to finish our conversation, go to Chiller Night Theater's YouTube channel, where you can see this, you can find this episode and watch the entire thing. So, we want to thank you for joining us tonight, folks, and join us next week for Chiller Chat. Have a good night.
Do I have to tell you, just because something isn't good doesn't mean it's bad?
And this is the continuation of this particular episode here with Chad Cornell. And Chad, so you just described the figure that you saw. And then the other gentleman, he described the same thing, and you were not together. You weren't in the same room when you saw it. Is that correct?
Correct. These were on different times. He was there weeks prior. He was there that night, obviously, but weeks prior is when he had his experience. I never knew about his experience. He never knew about mine until we actually had the conversation 2 months later on air. Actually, it happened just within the last, I want to say, last month, I think was an episode we had him on. So it's been months since the incident actually happened that we finally brought it up to him and were able to concur these details we both had. I had no prior knowledge of his experience, and he had no prior knowledge of my experience until actually our show.
Now that is interesting. Now, what did he think when you told him? Who was the first to bring this up? Did you bring that up to him, or did he bring that up to you?
Well, it just kind of came up in a conversation because we were talking. There was an event that we had taken part in there about 3 weeks ago, I think it might have been. It was called MadCon, which was an event with special celebrity guests and different paranormal groups and vendors, where we brought the public in, and we raised money for cystic fibrosis research. And we were just doing kind of a promotional thing to talk about it, and different things actually happened to us there doing investigations. And it kind of came up in a conversation about what his experience, what he saw, and he started talking about his experience of seeing this man. And I instantly had my ears perked up. I looked at Doug, and he kind of looked at me kind of funny, and I wrote down on a piece of paper what was going on and wrote down the details while Bryan was talking about other items for MadCon. Then we got back to talking about the events that occurred, and then he talked about his man that he saw, and it basically just went right down the list, right on live on air. It gave us chills because it was verifying for him and verifying for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. Jeez. Well, now you've got some upcoming investigations, correct?
Yeah, there's a few investigations and a few events coming in the very near future.
Now, what's the? I'm looking on the website here, EVPsociety.com, EVP or -society.com. And I'm looking at, now I just saw the one that you had, you had a Madison Seminary, Resident Undead.
Yeah.
Now you have one coming up at the Barnabas House, Northeast Pennsylvania. Is that still a go?
No, unfortunately, the Barnabas House was sold and to new ownership. They're going to turn into something new. We did have a very big part in the location. We had our hands in the location for about a solid 2 years, and about a year and a half ago, we had conversations with the owner. She's a fantastic lady, and her husband. They opened up to us on a whim. I heard stories about the location, and we were going to be doing a charity event for a local animal shelter up here. And what a great way to do it is to do it at a location to investigate. There's great specialist celebs that come out, and we need to find a location. I heard stories about the location and got talking to her, and we ended up striking a friendship. And we did other investigations at the building, and I mentioned to her, because of the cost of building upkeep, was, hey, why don't you open it up for regular investigators to come check out, because there is legit activity here. And we just started having investigations come up, and she had an offer made that they couldn't refuse, and it was bad timing, but good timing for her, because we had more than 15 to 20 people. 20 of the teams actually were wanting to come investigate the location, and it will actually be released in an upcoming episode of Resident Undead within the very next couple weeks. And they've been located. They've investigated many locations, well-known locations, and the Barnabas has become one of their favorites. But unfortunately, that location has ceased to exist as far as investigation purposes. It's now going to be transitioned into another venture by the new ownership.
Okay, all right.
But as far as other events coming up that new investigations, is we don't have any specific dates for some of our investigations. We're setting one up to finally go investigate the Knickerbocker Hotel.
In Linesville, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I need to reach out to Peg and get something set up there. We've always been kind of hesitant to go there, not for the purposes of the location. It's just, I like to try and go to 2 locations after people have been there and haven't been there for a little while, to try and, wait till things die down. And there was a big fluctuation of people wanting to go there because of it being on Paranormal State many companies, I don't know how many handfuls, 7, 8 years ago. And now it's kind of slowed down a little bit, and now is just the time I'd like to go to investigate, because I've heard some good things from very close people of mine who have been there recently. So we're going to try and set something up there. We do have an event at the Dunkirk Lighthouse in September, a public event, a public investigation. We're going to be doing a Halloween investigation special that we were asked to do by the Kingsville Public Library in Kingsville, Ohio, that you actually have been to.
Yes.
We have a lot of things, some other private investigations I can't discuss on air, but we're going to go back and do another full-fledged investigation at Madison Seminary. We're going to try and get back to Hillview Manor. There's a few other locations that I want to get back to. It's just a matter of scheduling and whether or not weather's going to cooperate this year.
Well, I think you'll find. Now, I was at the Knickerbocker Hotel with another paranormal investigation team back. This was actually 10 years ago. It was exactly 10 years ago, almost to the month. 10 years and some months. But that's a pretty interesting looking place there. Some of the stories that have come out of that place are pretty interesting. I didn't happen to see anything or hear anything myself. I was there for one evening. We got there probably around 7 o'clock, 6 or 7 in the evening, and or maybe even before that. And I think we finally left, or I had to leave. They stayed. I had to leave at like 3:30 in the morning because I had to work. I had to begin work at 7 a.m. So I had to get back home. So that was a long day.
Understandable.
But that's something too. I've brought this up with other interviews with paranormal investigators. it's something that I don't know if viewers really know or really appreciate how much time goes into these things, because you will be there for hours upon hours upon hours, and then it's not done even then, because you have to review all the footage, and that footage could be from various cameras, for various sources, and the audio and the video. It's just one investigation. It's not something that I don't think you could accurately do like once a week. I'm amazed at how many investigations you have lined up here, because I know how tedious they must be, how meticulous you have to be in the process of screening that information, the source information afterwards.
Sure. But we've come up with different techniques to help move those processes along a little faster, as far as sometimes less is more, to be totally honest with you. People who start off think, man, you gotta have 10 cameras set up, you need to have audio running the entire time. Well, you can do that, but you're going to be spending, if you have 10 cameras and you're there, say, just for a short time frame, so you're there for 6 hours. That's 60 hours of just video from your cameras you have to watch.
Yeah.
So we try and find the hot spots of the location and set cameras up just in those hot spots, and then try and document stuff with our handhelds as we go around. Now, we also have do sometimes small bursts of the recording for an E.V.P. session, and review it then, because if we actually capture something on the recording, then we try and interact and move further along with it. So we've kind of learned as we went that sometimes less is more. So it helps save a little bit more time with that. It's not saying we don't cover places well enough. It's just we've learned the tricks of the trade of sometimes doing the spots that mean the most are the ones you need to focus on, not some random room in down a hallway that really has no meaning to the building.
Right. Well, that's good. I guess that's something you only pick up through experience after the year. How many years, you've been doing this? I guess that's something you would just naturally pick up. So that's.
And like I said, another great tool is we do the live feeds.
Yeah.
So we do have people who do interact and tell us certain things that they see and hear. So what's great is we do have the live feed going, but we also have a handheld with exact times. So we can actually go back and match up timestamps what these people are talking about and review it on our handhelds or any recorder sessions we do, and also that live stream as well. So we have multiple different angles, and we have, instead of having just a few eyes looking at things, we can have thousands of people watching and helping us along the way.
Wow. Now there is I'm not going to disclose it because you haven't, but if you do happen to go to a location that has you and I have talked. If you go kind of west of here, and if you do happen to go there and find anything of interest, I'd sure love to have you back on the show to talk about that.
Sure, I'm trying to remember which one it was.
Well, it's way out west, like.
Oh, we talking in Colorado?
I was talking in California.
Oh, California. Oh, we can talk about that. There's no.
Can we? Okay. All right. I like to at least kind of wean into that topic, with that location.
No.
Because I don't know what is discreet or not. But could you tell our viewers a potential place that you're going to be going to investigate?
Sure. It didn't work out this year due to some scheduling conflicts and whatnot, but one of our previous guests we've had on the show a couple times now, his name is David Oman. He lives out around the Beverly Hills area. He lives near the UCLA campus in a valley. His home is actually built, when he built the home, it was actually built within 200 feet of the original house that the Manson murders took place 49 years ago that, killed, for example, like Sharon Tate and her unborn child, and a few other poor souls. And during our talking and interviews of him, he's always invited us out to do an investigation and live stream of his home, which has been on all these different shows as far as Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, and so forth. And so at some point we will be going out there to investigate his home, which is an interesting place because it's not just spirits of the murder victims that haunt the location. His home itself is just a highly charged location with the EMF levels that are naturally occurring from the earth. They fluctuate throughout his home, and they're extremely high. And that can, help charge any entities to show itself, whether that be, Indian barrels that were nearby, or just spirits that come and go. Because some spirits, they might not be attached to you, but they might be, how want to put it, prone to like you. So one theory is our spirits, can move from area to area, and sometimes they can follow you to a location that's highly charged and show themselves again to you. And that happens at his location from time to time. But yeah, we look forward to going out there because it's such an amazing opportunity to investigate a location where something so traumatic and unfortunately gruesome occurred, and maybe try and interact with something that with the deceased members of those poor people. It would be when we get out there. Hopefully, it'll be around the 50-year anniversary. But he just had the 49-year anniversary. We actually had him on that night of that 49th anniversary of those murders. So we look forward to going out there and having that opportunity.
Well, good luck with that. I really hope you get that opportunity and that presents itself to you, and you get to go out there, and then I hope to have you back on to talk about that. Not just that one, anytime you have an open invitation to the show, of course. But I think that would be fascinating because obviously that's such a well-known, crime that occurred there. Such a, like you said, it's such a gruesome murder that took place there. I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what you come up with. But Chad, will probably go ahead and wrap up this particular episode. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we call it a night?
Sure. I mean, people, whenever they think things are paranormal in their home, they need to kind of take a step back and think logically about things, because I can probably guarantee that 90% of the things that happen in your home are logically explained by different items or house settling or pipes and so forth.
Right.
But that's not saying that's the case. But, you need to not jump to conclusions and keep in mind of logical reasonings before you think something is happening in your home in the paranormal realm. And please don't jump to things being demonic, because that is a thing that is really blown up by the television shows. If people were jerks in the real life, they're going to be the jerks in the afterlife. They might get a kick out of scaring people. And so people think that's demonic activity. It's really not. But there are some cases out there that are far and few between. But don't jump to that conclusion, because
jerks are jerks in any life form, right?
Exactly. So TV has very much amplified that. So always think logically.
Well, that's good advice. Very good advice. And well, Chad, this was great having you on, and I look forward to having you on again. It's always a pleasure. I've known you for several years. I've been out with you and your team, and it's always a great experience. So thanks again for being on the show tonight.
Oh, thank you for having me.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap this episode up of Chiller Chat with Chad Cornell. And take care, have a good night, and join us next time.